Smart ingredients require smart delivery technologies. Hello, and welcome to my presentation, Smart Ingredients Require Smart Delivery Technologies. My name is Philip Bromley, co-founder, CEO of Virun NutraBIOsciences. Okay, let's begin. Table of cognition. Brain is a highway. I want to map it all night long. The body is like Google Maps of multiple galaxies. Delivering cognitive ingredients is not easy. Remember, a cognitive ingredient you ingest, digest, is oppressed, then maybe if you are lucky, assessed. Cognitive ingredients have poor pharmacokinetics and or stability. You need a micelle to procreate micelle. Water-insoluble ingredients need to be broken down and or materialized before absorbed. For example, ingredients that proliferate mitochondrial biogenesis are not all water-soluble, and water-insoluble compounds are not as, well, soluble. Proteins can use a key to unlock the door and absorb. Cell receptor-mediated endocytosis is a big phrase for tricking your body into opening the door and allowing an increase in bioavailability. Lastly, cognitive ingredients can taste like trash, dead fish, and rotten eggs. Glutathione, DHA Omega 3, and other compounds and proteins degrade rapidly and are prone to flavor that is so bad that when ingested can actually ingest itself backward. Blech. The brain is a densely populated metropolis with many roadblocks, detours, and stoplights. To navigate this diverse electronic roadmap, you need a precise GPS system that knows where to begin and where to end. Hey, look at that. There's Nick's house and his polo field in his backyard. It's easy selling an ingredient and saying it has been shown to maintain or promote brain health, cognitive health, or whatever. But is that ingredient truly being delivered to the brain? Is it stable in the delivery application, beverage, capsule, or other? Cognitive ingredients are susceptible to degradation, probably more so than any other health ingredient category. You need to know the right questions to ask. Virun NutraBIOsciences are here to help. Delivery and targeting the brain. The brain has many on-ramps and exits. Knowing which to take is necessary for functional effect. First, there is digestion. Then there is that annoying immune system thing that protects blood plasma from absorbing viruses and bacteria, etc. The blood-brain barrier acts as a high-security door shield. If a compound or protein is able to reach the brain, there is the question of activity toward neurons, cell receptors, compound channels, and signaling effects. Two roads diverge in the gut. I took the one more difficult to traverse. It's not just about an ingredient, but the route in which it takes. When you ingest a cognitive ingredient, how does it get by the big, mean green monster? The brain is a very difficult target. Reaching the blood-brain barrier in of itself is a huge accomplishment, given all the factors that can inhibit delivery to the brain, such as digestion. Let's try that again, such as digestion. Digestion breaks down particles using acid, enzymes, and bile, then prepares the broken down particles for absorption. Particles are assimilated into micelles. For example, nonpolar compounds are materialized into micelles and or liposomes, which are then further micellized so the particles are small enough to fit into the tight junction space of the brush border membrane. Yep, just as the phrase suggests, the brush border membrane has a thin comb-like exterior that protrudes outward similar to a brush. It's an area of the mucosa that protects foreign material from entering the body, otherwise known as part of your immune system. The brush border are partially composed of lipids where the tips are polar and tails of the comb-like adjuncts are nonpolar. Particles can fit between the spaces of the comb and mediate the border. If the particles are polar, water-soluble, at least the outer portion being polar, the rate of diffusion from the exterior to the interior lymphatics can occur faster. This is known as a like dissolves like scenario. If you are water, then you dissolve easier in water. Those little red balls are supposed to go in between the spines of the comb. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, and guess what? Number 5. Then there's the lymphatics. That area between the gut and blood plasma is insane. So cognitive ingredients are not as simple as the ingredients themselves. Once ingested, the protein or compound must remain stable during digestion and also properly assimilate itself to maximize absorption. Once digested, the protein or compound must absorb into or across the lymphatics and enter the circulatory system, vis blood plasma. Once in blood plasma, the protein or compound must penetrate the blood-brain barrier for it to bind to receptors in the brain or brain mitochondria. The brain is complex, and delivering any smart ingredient to the brain requires smart, safe, and effective delivery technology. This is where your cognitive ingredient needs a GPS. So how do we improve the delivery of cognitive ingredients? Virun incorporates patented technologies categorized as follows: eSolve patented encapsulation technologies, transferrin patented delivery technologies, bicarbonate patents pending extraction and deodorization processing. You need a micelle to procreate my cell. Okay, first of all, I could use terms like hydrolipophilic balance, amphiphilic, hydrophobic, etc., but I don't want to. Instead, let's discuss in layman's terms. And heck, why not? I'll include my kids blowing bubbles to give a better characterization. That's my son Drake on the left. He's 7. My daughter Larissa on the right. She's 10. Micelles are basically bubbles. They're a mixture of oil, water, and some stuff in between. The oil and water are mixed together in a sequence where parts of the micelle are oil, other parts that are equally oil and water, and lastly, parts that are water. The part of the micelle that is equally water and oil is the most significant part because this portion can mix with oil and water, allowing the micelle to form. Kind of like if you had a Democratic Republican as president. Ignoring equal parts of both scenarios, of course. Was that a political statement, you say? Hey, wait a minute. How did this image about Virun exhibiting at Supply Side West in Vegas in October at booth number 3981 get in here? That is so strange. However, from the looks of the slide, it appears that if anyone were to visit Virun at Supply Side West this year, that they will be millennialized. Okay, back to you need a micelle to procreate my cell. So, micelles are amphiphilic, kind of like the switch hitter Eric Ibar, the Angels, or Victor Martinez, where they can hit left or right-handed. Amphiphilic micelles can take oil and dissolve it into water because micelles are switch solubilizers. Our gut mucosa, where we absorb stuff, is composed of water-soluble lipids. The more water-soluble something is, the more soluble it becomes. So what does this all mean? More water-soluble means what? Micelles do what? And what significance does this have with cognitive ingredients and absorption? Phospholipid, fat, liposomes, however you want to paraphrase, increase bioavailability parameters. Fact is, they all need to convert into micelles for them to absorb efficiently. Liposomal technology for oral bioavailability. Micelles cut to the chase and are the inevitable last step before absorption. If we can encapsulate fats and other cognitive-rich nonpolar compounds, DHA Omega-3, PQQ, CoQ10, resveratrol, phosphatidylserine, then we precondition these to be more readily available for absorption through micelle encapsulation. Micelles are more water-soluble than nonpolar compounds, and thus, encapsulating them into these micelles will increase their solubility. I think I'm sounding redundant here, but nonetheless. Micelles increasing the oral bioavailability of nonpolar, water-insoluble compounds are well documented and published. And patented. Hey, wait a minute. That's my name in there. So, in a micelle shell, basically, micelles better transverse the gut to improve bioavailability of nonpolar compounds. Examples of nonpolar compounds with cognitive benefits. Oh, and by the way, when I say polar, as in water, This has nothing to do with bears. Examples of cognitive ingredients: astaxanthin, DHA Omega-3, PQQ, CoQ10, phosphatidylserine, curcumin. There's some essential oils showing cognitive benefits, and resveratrol. Virun has developed several patent and patent-pending compositions, encapsulators, and functional ingredients that are stable in functional food, beverage, or supplement applications, but also are more readily available for absorption through micellization utilizing eSolve technologies. eSolve PQQ water, eSolve coenzyme clear, eSolve omega water, eSolve astapure, eSolve curcumin, eSolve resveratrol. Do you too want superhuman strength? The ability to balance forks glued to your chest? And what is that? An iron with bricks on it? Alrighty, moving right along. Do you want to access the tools to supercharge your brain? The brain's intricacies. If tapped into the right mechanism, you can unleash an explosion of powerful effects. eSolve PQQ water. This is copy and pasted from Wikipedia, so who knows the accuracy? Come on, you know we all do it. I'm just too lazy to put it in my own words. Also, you can just reference the fun stuff in red. I urge all of you to read the science and references the studies themselves later. PQQ. In 2010, researchers at University of California at Davis released a peer-reviewed publication showing the PQQ blah, 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 promotes the spontaneous generation of new mitochondria within aging cells, a process known as mitochondrial biogenesis. So basically, Mr. Taco. Sorry, I'm hungry, and it's taco day here at Virun. So basically, an explosion of metabolic mitochondrial bliss. Virun encapsulates PQQ in a form that is intended to be added to high-acid aqueous conditions. Want to add PQQ to your beverage, shot, or liquid supplement? Well, that's what we frickin' do. We do a lot more cognitive than just PQQ water. We do coenzyme clear, asta water, curcumin, omega, H2O, DHA, resveratrol, and phosphatidylserine. All in clear, shelf-stable, and great-tasting beverages, shots, smoothies, and liquid supplements. Did you see what I did there? No. So basically, Virun plus cognitive ingredients equal a collective cognition cocktail of cognitive components to captivate calibrated cerebral capacity. Yeah, you try to say that. Did you happen to see this? Virun Alga Technologies present eSolve Astapure, clear water-soluble astaxanthin for beverages. Okay, again, taken from Wikipedia, so who knows if this is true or not. However, let's play make-believe and pretend, shall we? Research shows that due to astaxanthin's potent antioxidant activity, it may be beneficial in cardiovascular, immune, inflammatory, and neurodegenerative diseases. Everyone knows DHA has cognitive benefits. Delivery is important with DHA, especially considering flavor. Introducing Omega Water. Utilizing eSolve Omega Water and our bicarbonate extraction process, Virun can turn this into this. And in these, which makes this. And of course this. Not just DHA, other cognitive ingredients such as curcumin that is clear to yellow, red, and orange with no sediment at the bottom. Speaking of sediment at the bottom, delivery of nonpolar compounds such as curcumin, resveratrol, astaxanthin, phosphatidylserine is important so your beverage or liquid supplement does not look like the bottom of a river. That's some serious sediment. Virun incorporates dozens of global patented technologies to assure your product is stable and not a rocky ocean floor. Out with the old, in with the new. Direct precision is DP technology. 3 U.S. patents on transferrin and transferrin liposomal delivery to improve bioavailability and bypass stomach degradation. Encapsulate your protein, probiotic, or peptide with DP technology and see what the difference is with natural transferrin augmentation and liporeceptor protein targeting, which is just fancy talk for lactoferrin binds the gut mucosa and is a protein that can actually absorb across the gut mucosa. Okay, now we all have seen the fancy picture showing receptors bound to stuff, and the segue intro to DP technology is thereby complete. So what is DP technology, and what does this have to do with cognitive ingredients and delivery technology? And why is there a choo-choo train with a protein attached to its caboose? Say what? Let me explain. Did you know transferrin and lactoferrin are one of the only proteins that can bypass stomach degradation? Yep, this is why lactoferrin is in breast milk so infants can absorb iron. Lactoferrin transfers iron from outside a cell to the inside of a cell. This is called receptor-mediated endocytosis. Like a train delivering cargo from one city to the next, DP technology delivers and is real science. Okay, so that is why there is a train with a protein linked to it. If you want to improve oral bioavailability, pharmacokinetics, dynamics, call the experts whose business was based on doing just this. DP technology is a patented delivery system that follows a natural mechanism, bypasses stomach degradation, binds gut mucosa, and mediates into the cells of the gut mucosa. pH triggers the release of iron and conjugate, then recycles back out. DP technology is cell-specific, not just luck of the dice. Enteric coating, polymers, etc. do not bind to liporeceptor proteins like transferrins and cannot absorb through a similar cell-mediated endocytosis process. Cognitive ingredients can taste and smell like trash. DHA Omega-3 and other cognitive ingredients, when added to water plus acid, can raise havoc on organoleptics. To avoid chaos, Virun incorporates encapsulation technologies, evolve, and applies their bicarbonate extraction process to assure great taste and long-term stability. The maze of chaos. So many things can happen when you add DHA, PQQ, CoQ10, astaxanthin, glutathione, etc. into beverages. Iron, acid, water, other antioxidants are all catalysts toward chemical reactions. To find the correct path in the maze of chaos takes expertise and technology. DHA tastes like dead fish if not properly protected. Virun's bicarbonate extraction process and technology displaces oxygen, chelates metals, yielding DHA Omega-3 that does not taste like sashimi served up on the Las Vegas Strip in August. Virun's bicarbonate extraction process gives a whole new meaning to adding baking soda to your fridge. Then there's glutathione. Stable in water? I don't think so. Have you tried glutathione in water? Can anyone say rotten eggs? And when I say rotten eggs, I do not mean this. Or this. And no, I'm not talking about him either. I mean literally, tastes and smells like rotten egg. Glutathione is a sulfur-containing tripeptide. When added to water, the glutathione can break down and the sulfur taste and smell becomes more pronounced. Virun utilizes DP technology and binds glutathione to lactoferrin. Lactoferrin is a protein that is stable under acidic conditions and can handle harsh environments. DHA Omega-3, PQQ, CoQ10, proteins, probiotics, glutathione, and more. Virun has science-based solutions to stabilize these compounds and proteins into finished beverages, liquid supplements, or powders. Real science, patents, and natural processes and mechanisms that yield results. Virun is delivery technology. Pull up to our driveway, talk to Nichols Huang, or call today and place your order. Real science and real delivery technologies. It's about time foods, beverages, and supplements became millennialized. Find out more and visit Virun NutraBIOsciences in Las Vegas at SupplySide West Expo, October 7th and 8th. Visit our booth and explore our interactive, high-tech vintage room and watch as you leave wanting dreadlocks, a 19th century mustache, and top hat. You'll never be the same. That's my presentation. Smart ingredients require smart delivery technologies. And now for questions, please. All right. Well, I'm just going to repeat myself. Thank you again for joining. Smart ingredients require smart delivery technologies. So this is live. This is a Q&A session. If anybody has any questions, please ask them now so I can answer them. Whether my answers are correct or not, I have no clue. That was Nicholas Huang behind me, just interrupting the Q&A session. Here, you can say no comment. All right, so we have our first question from, looks like Mr. Reginald Wang. How's the water solubility of PQQ? Well, the PQQ that we process and encapsulate, it's a form of PQQ that under high acid conditions in the presence of water won't precipitate. So it's stable from that perspective, and solubility is great. We can add it to shots, beverage products, and liquid supplements, and we've been shown to have 12-month shelf life in those types of applications. I will say that when we run these applications and run stability, et cetera, we tend to use DI water. We put nitrogen in the headspace of the bottle and then close them under pressure. And we do that just for all the beverages that we produce here. And it's just because a lot of the ingredients are antioxidants, they're oils, and they tend to oxidize in the presence of oxygen. So that just helps improve stability over time. So it's not just about the ingredient in some cases. A lot of it has to do with your processing of the finished product. But Reginald, if you ever want a sample or anything like that, just let us know. We'll send you samples and spec sheets and all that fun stuff. See, we got a question from Gigi Manila. What proof do you have that micellized ingredients pass the Better Business Bureau? I'm not sure about the Better Business Bureau. Makes no sense to me. I'm kidding. So, what proof do we have that passes the blood-brain barrier? You know, I bet you this question was asked prior to getting to the point of my presentation about DP technology. So DP technology is a transferrin delivery technology that we invented back in, I think, 2003, 2004. It was the basis of our company, Virun, which is an acronym for Virus Immune. We started off as a drug delivery company for pharmaceuticals and biotechnology. And our first series of patents was taking transferrin and binding them to different proteins and peptides to improve oral bioavailability and PK, PD. And that mechanism takes transferrin, binds it to a protein like, say, glutathione or different amino acids, peptides. And lactoferrin's been clinically shown to avoid stomach degradation and bind to liporeceptor proteins in the upper intestines and absorb into the lymphatics. And we tag on different proteins and peptides, and the transferrin recycles back out, leaving those proteins, peptides, to perform its therapeutic effect. Also, serum transferrin has affinity to bind blood-brain barrier. So we've conjugated using different serum transferrins to bind blood-brain barrier and increase the absorption of different proteins and peptides. And if it's an ionic-bound transferrin, the transferrin itself does not stay localized in brain tissue. However, the active conjugate that it's delivering does. So anyway, the whole blood-brain barrier is primarily directed towards our DP technology using transferrins and lactotransferrins. All right, so next question I have here is, boy, there's a lot of questions. This is odd. Usually I have to write my own questions. I just have a question here from Marcus Malinga. I've just joined for the last few minutes of the webinar regarding H2O water. What sort of shelf life can you expect? Normal while keeping the transparency. All right. Well, Marcus, we can get a year shelf life for the Omega H2O. And again, like I emphasized before, that's using DI water. We put nitrogen in the headspace. We also add about 1 gram of potassium bicarbonate, which we have patent applications in regards to. The bicarbonate helps displace oxygen within the water phase of the beverage, also chelates any residual metals. You can also use sodium bicarbonate, but we like the potassium because it's natural, it's a natural mineral, and then of course you got the potassium claims, which is great. And therefore you don't have to use EDTA and things like that. But yeah, so as long as it's processed right, potassium bicarbonate, DI water, nitrogen in the headspace, under about 6 to 8 pounds of pressure, you have a stable beverage, shot, liquid supplement for about a year. And we could process that here. We have our own co-packer in Riverside, California. We blow mold bottles. We can do pretty much any size. And we can do it cost efficiently too, which is kind of nice, and low minimums and things like that. But we like to process the whole application ourselves because then we can keep close to the processes and make sure all the SOPs are being followed so that your product doesn't taste like rancid fish. Let's see, who else? Victoria Hopkins. Where is that? Victoria Hopkins, where'd you go? There it is. Do you implement special processing to these ingredients to protect their potencies and reactivities before blended to produce your powder? Oh yeah, definitely. That's a good question. And fish oil being the most volatile, there's a lot of critical control points in our processes. Probably too many to mention here in this presentation. But fish oil received frozen, we don't keep it longer than 4 months, probably more specifically 3 months. All the ingredients are stored frozen. We have our own freezers here. We have refrigerators. Everything's temperature controlled. It goes through everything that's processed into a concentrate and then is produced into a beverage. And it's highly dependent on inventory control and temperature control and making sure that it's processed both concentrate like Omega, PQQ, CoQ10, whatever it is, and then quickly put into its finished beverage application or shot, liquid supplement, or powder. And then once it's put into that particular finished product application, then stabilized in its finished packaging. So there's really like 3 steps in making sure that the product is stable. One is controlling the raw material once it's received, whether it's frozen, nitrogen, refrigeration. Second is compounding that raw material so that it's been preconditioned to be able to be added to a finished product application, beverage, shot, stick pack powder. And then lastly, stabilizing the finished product so that it's not prone to oxidation, no oxygen, no residual metals, things like that. And let's see, I have a question from Fafloman. Love your presentation. Have you used your products in double-blind randomized nice controlled trials? Can you give us bibliography? I don't know if you mean a bibliography of myself or the company. I could do that. We do have double-blind clinical studies on our DP technology, lactotransferrin. We've licensed to pharma. It's currently marketed as drug. We don't make the drugs here. Too much of a burden for us, plus we just don't have enough money to do something like that. But we do license our technologies for those purposes. And we do have double-blind studies on our transferrin delivering different proteins and peptides systemically. Micellization, we also have double-blind studies on using our diester vitamin E succinate to encapsulate different oil compounds. And I'm happy to share that with you via email. Just feel free to contact me or contact us, innovate.today@virun.com, and we can give you all that information via email. As far as bibliography, I'm a chemist. I went to San Diego State University, majored in chemistry. I worked in drug delivery technology in San Diego and biotech, and I studied and worked in delivering proteins and peptides using ligand augmentation and cell receptor mediated endocytosis, and from that I formed my own company back in 2003 with my partner Nick Huang. If you remember earlier, you saw his house with his polo field in his backyard. I think that was like slide number 3 or something. Yeah, he's got lots of money, so much that he was able to build his own polo field in his backyard. Yeah, so every once in a while I go over to his house and watch him on his horse with his polo stick playing polo with his friends. Let's see, who else? Thank you, Reginald. I appreciate you joining. Jerome Donahoe, what is the cost dosage for DHA in a serving of water? Cost of DHA in this encapsulate, you can do a clear dissolving DHA in water. Cost would be about, if you want to deliver 100 milligrams of DHA per 60-ounce beverage, the cost would probably be about 5 cents. If you're doing a cloudy beverage, you could do that same 100 milligram dose for 1.5 cents. The more clear something is, the less turbidity, the more expensive it becomes. We also do smoothies where we deliver 1,500 milligrams of EPA DHA per 15 ml serving size, and these are marketed primarily in the natural products markets, Whole Foods and whatnot. But that costs, you could deliver 1,500 milligrams EPA DHA in a 15 ml serving size for about 40 cents per dose. We can deliver even in 60-ounce beverages up to 800 milligrams of EPA DHA in, say, a 60-ounce or even a 12 or 10-ounce unit serving size. We've successfully produced 600 milligrams of DHA from algyl in a 10-ounce serving size. For clear type applications, we typically do anywhere from 40 milligrams to, say, 350 milligrams EPA DHA in a clear type application. But again, I reiterate, it's so important that we work with co-packers and we work with stabilizing the finished products. You can use your own co-packer. We just ask, please utilize us to integrate the processes at that co-packer. Let's see. Nichols Samuelson, do you have any products on the market now in the U.S., for instance? Yes, we do. We have a lot of products. We protect the brands that we produce for, but we're in Whole Foods. There's some companies that went public with us, like Dr. Jekyll's Beer. We have Omega in beer and different health ingredients and essential oils and beers to help with the flavor, the aroma, using natural essential oils during the brewing process. But they've gone public. There's some other ones that have gone public too, but I wish more companies would do that. But then again, I kind of understand that we support companies not, because a lot of finished product companies want to own their product, own their brand, and then rebrand it under their label, and that makes sense to us. We don't sell finished products, nor do we want to. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay. Marcus, are any of your products in Europe? We do have some products that are natural products in Europe, Whole Foods in particular. I know we have some functional beverages. A lot of what we do sell a lot of raw materials to companies in Europe, whether it's like flavor oils and colors, curcumin, beta-carotene, lutein, and then we have a product with astaxanthin in Europe. In many cases, I don't know what the finished product is. We just ship to co-packers and they're putting it in something. But most of the stuff that we do in Europe are us selling a raw material concentrate to them and then them further compounding it into a finished product. We haven't successfully produced a finished product for a company in Europe and then shipped that finished product there. And I think that's where we could be more aggressive as far as like producing a really neat product for Europe. Mega waters or mega juices or anything like that. Mega smoothies and things that we do. And we can do that. And I think we could produce it cheaper here, ship overseas to Europe versus having it co-packed in Europe. Just from what we've been able to set up in the past 2 years, raw material concentrate compounding here and co-packing, to where we actually produce the preforms and blow mold the preforms into bottles and then pack them. It's just very cost efficient, and I look forward to the opportunity to work with companies to produce more finished products in Europe versus just supplying raw materials. Hopefully that answers your question. Where can we find your products and which stores? Most of our products are in Whole Foods, Mother's, natural products markets. We do have some products in main chain grocery stores, like functional waters, through Kroger's and things like that. I can't mention those products because, just again, to protect the integrity of the finished brand. But those are more commodity type ingredients we produce here. Vitamin A, D, K that we just compound and make water soluble clear, and they add it. But most of our unique products like Omega smoothies and Omega products, different high concentrate oils that we add in beverages, they're primarily sold in natural products and Whole Foods markets. Let's see, who else? Pedro, Virun was proven chocolate beverages, possible interactions between cocoa ingredients. You know, we haven't done a chocolate beverage. We did, someone had a really neat idea and put our Omega in with chocolates before, and it worked great. Haven't done a chocolate beverage. I believe it would be successful. We've done chocolate smoothie before. There are no interactions between cocoa and Omega. And again, it kind of boils down to make sure if you added cocoa with Omega, produced a beverage, a protein drink, whatever it is, make sure that DI water, liquid nitrogen, headspace, just make sure there's all the catalysts are removed from that finished product so there's no reaction. And it's really simple to do. And avoid having to use EDTA and things like that. We really try to focus on natural products markets because we believe that producing these products that we produce, they typically are higher end, they have higher margins, they're efficacious, 1,500 milligrams EPA DHA per serving, and we find that demographic market are more willing to spend more money on purchasing a product such as that. But yeah, you can do chocolate beverages, again, all dependent on processing, and we're here to help with that. We run stability, third-party analysis, and everything so that you can be sure to make sure that your product's stable. And send you samples and different flavored versions. That's what we do day in and day out. All right, our friend Gary Brenner from Astapure. If astaxanthin is already known to cross the blood-brain barrier, how does Esolve make astaxanthin even more available? Yeah, Gary, thanks a lot. Well, Gary, I mean, we don't make any claims to improve the astaxanthin, the bioavailability to the brain. Like you said, astaxanthin in of itself has been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier. So more when we talk about the blood-brain barrier, we're talking about our DP technology and transferrin. We have 3 patents on using transferrin to help delivery across different cell membranes. One of which is using serum transferrin to help bind to the outside of the blood-brain barrier through liporeceptor cell-mediated endocytosis, and it's been clinically shown to improve the bioavailability of amino acids, proteins, and peptides. We initially did that with delivering different dopamine agonists, and we've done it with different hormones that we were working with too. But yeah, it's primarily associated with our transferrin delivery technology, not so much astaxanthin or a particular compound. So my whole point in my presentation with smart ingredients, if you're ingesting an ingredient and you really need to understand the pharmacokinetics, with astaxanthin, we would want to improve the bioavailability into blood plasma. I wouldn't be focused so much on astaxanthin crossing the blood-brain barrier. So we would take astaxanthin, we would encapsulate it so that it becomes more polar, and we would reduce the particle size of the astaxanthin to be between 10 and 20 nanometers. Your body absorbs nonpolar compounds more efficiently when they are within a particle range of 10 to 20 nanometers. So as long as you do that, then you have a compound that's more readily available for absorption. Thereafter, as Gary notes, astaxanthin is just fine on its own crossing the blood-brain barrier. But what if you take something like GABA? GABA doesn't have much affinity for crossing the blood-brain barrier. So what can you do to the GABA compound to make it so it's more bioavailable, both systemically, blood plasma, but also through the blood-brain barrier? So we've done research on binding serum transferrins to GABA. Serum transferrin can bind liporeceptor proteins and then increase the absorption of GABA into the brain. Other companies have done things like augmented GABA with different covalent bond conjugates to increase the absorption into the brain of GABA, but we focus on our transferrin delivery. So hopefully that kind of helps emphasize that. Let's see. What else do we have? Okay, what is the upper temperature before breakdown for the product if added to a pellet? Well, I could tell you, if you were to add to a pellet, we do about a 50% oil load of omega, EPA, DHA, or DHA in our powders. We've been producing about a 15% EPA, DHA, or DHA up to a 25% EPA, DHA, or DHA powder. And that goes through our bicarbonate process. Our bicarbonate, during our spray drying process, removes oxygen and allows no destabilization in the presence of heat. So it passes through our atomizer at about, oh, there's no one back there. I was going to ask someone behind me if they know. I think it's around 300 degrees Celsius. So as long as, again, if you're processing the pellet under the right conditions, whether it's through bicarbonate, or if you just take our powder and process it with our bicarbonate encapsulation process, then you should be able to handle high heat processing. But you know what? You just don't know until you try. So I urge you to contact us, let us send samples out, and see how it handles through pellet type processing. Let's see, what else do we have here? Souvenir packaging and storage. Victoria, yes, we do. All the concentrates that we produce. It's interesting, the powders we produce for stick pack powders and things like that, the intermediate concentrate that we would send to the co-packer, we actually ship in PET containers. And they're in a PET container, the powders, so that we can make sure that it's packed under nitrogen. Bags and things like that just don't hold nitrogen very well. Our emulsion concentrates are also sent in PET containers. We also have bag in drum style. Some people call them a bladder drum, and the bladder is filled with a liquid emulsion, packed under nitrogen, sealed, and then it's in a drum. So yeah, everything, all our intermediate concentrates prior to being put into a finished product are packed under nitrogen. We also make sure that the finished products we produce are packed under nitrogen. Most co-packers have nitrogen dosing lines on their system already. Primary reason, if you're producing a plastic PET bottle, very thin walls, they concave very easily, so people like to put nitrogen in there just to puff out the bottle so you don't have any paneling. So these lines are integrated with nitrogen. Our co-packer is all set up with nitrogen, and we assure all nitrogen during processing. Let's see. What else do we have? Anybody else? Okay, well, Marcus, what's this usually development time for Omega water from idea, flavor to the finished product? Well, we can do, a lot of them are on shelf right now, but we can do it in about 6 to 8 weeks. The majority of that time is used for accelerated stability. But in 6 to 8 weeks, we could have, like say 6 different flavored samples of different Omega waters. And then, of course, there's that period where you're going to want it more sweet, less sweet, more tart. We typically don't use any synthetic sweeteners. We don't use sugar. Again, that's just our market. We just, for whatever reason, that's the market that likes us. So we typically use stevia, xylitol, or if you don't like xylitol because of stomach digestion issues, we might use glycerin. But we have a lot of tricks up our sleeves to make a great tasting water without increasing calorie count too much or using synthetic sweeteners. But hey, if you want to make our job easier and we can use sucralose, we love that opportunity. But unfortunately, most of our customers don't want us to do that. So I would say, yeah, contact us. We can send you samples of different Omega beverages. You could try them out, look over the ingredient list, and hopefully be successful with it. Let's see. What else do we have? Products on market. Ingredients more expensive. Okay. Are your water-soluble ingredients substantially more expensive than other ingredients? Will this dramatically increase the price of my finished product? The ingredients are, it all depends on the application. If it's a clear type product, it will be more. If it's cloudy, it's less. It's interesting. We have some products that, like the 1,500 milligram EPA DHA, is probably cheaper than producing, say, a 300 milligram DHA water. But it all depends on what your application is. We try to make the finished product, say a 60-ounce beverage with Omega, with good claims and things like that, try to get it so it's less than 50 cents for the whole thing. In some cases it's cheaper, in some cases it's more expensive. If you're using DHA algyl, it's going to be more expensive. DHA is just from algyl is more expensive than fish oil EPA DHA. So hopefully that answers your question. And that is all I have time for. I got to go because I have some work to do, and I got to pay the bills. And how you doing over there, Peter? You're good? Productions? All right. Don't say the name of the product we're producing right now because I can get in trouble. Anyway, thank you all for joining our presentation, and please contact us, innovate.today@virun.com, and let us be your partner in developing the next biggest brand out there. Thank you very much.